Hello kids, Shubhamangalam at Little Scholar High School. Myself Sukhdeep, I'll be taking up physics and today I'm going to teach class 9, chapter 1 and the chapter's name is matter. For your convenience, I've also mentioned the page number over here. Yes, we are going to start from page number 1 today. So yes, the name of the chapter is matter. So in our younger classes, we have studied, a world-class definition of matter, which says anything that has mass and occupies space is called as matter. I've also written it here for you and I'll read it out. Anything that has mass and occupies space is called as matter. This means every tiny particle that you are seeing around yourself, also every heaviest or every giant particle that you're seeing around you right now, it comes under the category of matter. So we have studied this earlier also that matter exists in three states: solids, liquids, and gases. So there are substances which exist in all the three states. Actually, all the substances in the universe can exist in all the three states provided the needed conditions and pressure. So to make it easier, let's discuss about a very simple example like water. So for example, I take a bowl and I pour in water in that and I place it in the refrigerator. I come back and check the bowl after half an hour and I observe that it has solidified. This means the water in the bowl has turned into ice. This means the ice is a solid form of water. Now I place the bowl of water on my dining table and come and check back after 1 hour or something like that. And I see that the ice in the bowl has melted and it has turned into water again. This is the liquid state of water. And now when I place the bowl of water in my microwave oven, of course if it is a glass bowl you can place it in the microwave oven, and if it is a steel one, prefer placing it on the gas stove. And when I turn it on, after some time I see that the water has evaporated and turned into water vapor. So now water vapor is nothing but the gaseous form of water. So coming back, you can talk about many other substances that exist in all the three states. For example, carbon dioxide also. Dry form or solid form of carbon dioxide is nothing but dry ice, which is used in the ice cream trucks so that the ice creams remain chilled for a longer duration of time. Now, carbon dioxide can also be liquefied at certain pressure and temperatures, and this liquefied carbon dioxide is used in fire extinguishers to put out fire. Similarly, the gaseous form of carbon dioxide is nothing but the CO2 gas available in the atmosphere. So yes, all the elements in the universe can actually exist in all the three states. Okay, provided the necessary conditions and the necessary pressure. In our chapter, we have learned about water. I have given you one more example, that is carbon dioxide. You can delve deeper and you can find about more other examples like nitrogen or some other gas which can exist in all the three states. So now coming back to the chapter over here, we are going further and discussing about the properties of solids, liquids and gases. Now, do you see this marker over here? If I place this marker in a container, is the marker going to change its shape and take the shape of the container? No. The marker is not going to change its shape or take the shape of the container. It has a rigid shape. Now, I take this marker and I throw it down. It will just roll. Is it going to flow on the floor? Is it going to flow on the floor? No, it is never going to flow on the floor. It is going to roll because of its size and shape over here. But let's take another example. For example, a duster and an ink bottle. So now when I throw the duster, I see that the duster falls down. Of course, because of gravitational force. Is the duster flowing on the floor? No, it is not flowing on the floor. So when I take the ink bottle and I open it up and pour the ink down on the floor, I see that the ink has started flowing on the floor. So I can observe a certain difference between them. So I can categorize the substances which are not flowing and are in their rigid form or in their definite form as solids, and the substances which are flowing as liquids. So in our case, the marker and the duster here are solids, whereas the ink that has started flowing on the floor is nothing but a liquid. So let's look at the points that I have jotted down over here. We have solids, and under solids the properties being mentioned over here is definite shape, fixed volume, do not flow and are rigid. So definite shape. Is the marker going to change its shape when it's placed in the container? No. So this means solids have a definite shape. Fixed volume. Is the marker going to take the shape of the container? No. Is it going to change its volume by any case? No. That is why we say it is fixed volume. Even when I throw it down, it is not going to open up and flow. So it has a fixed volume over here. So solids have a definite shape and a fixed volume. Do not flow, of course. When I throw the duster down, it is not flowing. So solids do not flow. And they're rigid. Rigid is something really like hard, like metals. Metals are rigid in structure. Like the solid substances like bricks are rigid in structure. So this was what we could sum up about solids, that they have definite shape and volume, they do not flow, and they are rigid. And you can also handle them in your hands. Whereas when you throw ink or you pour ink on your hands, it is going to flow down. You can't hold it. So now coming to liquids, you can see I have drawn some different containers over here. I've drawn containers of different shapes and sizes. So I take about 50 ml of water in a measuring flask and I pour it inside each of those containers. You can see that each of these containers do not have the same level. Okay, because of the shape and size. One of the containers really broad, whereas I have a test tube which is really narrow. You can see that the water level in them is different, but I have added the same volume of water in them. When I look at these diagrams over here, I conclude two properties of liquids. One is that the liquids take the shape of the containers, and the second one is that irrespective of the shape or size of the container, if I am adding the same amount or same volume of liquid in all the containers, the volume is going to remain the same. Okay, so now in this chapter, because we are definitely a higher class when compared to 6th, 7th and 8th, we have certain terminologies here that we will be discussing, one of them being fluids. So the dictionary meaning of fluids is nothing but something that flows freely. As I stated an example of the ink that flows out of the ink bottle, and I pour it down and the ink starts flowing. Similarly, if I spray perfume in one corner of the room, the other person sitting along with me in the room or might be in the other corner of the room but can still smell my perfume. That is because the perfume gas has actually mixed up with the air molecules and has